it's been years. I've been trying to make changes for myself for years, and I have all these different plans, and I have the sugar addicts recovery plan, this plan, that book, Ayurveda, and I have all these books, and none of them really were able to. I wasn't able to stick with any of them really, and I felt really like I was a failure. And this whole process, though, made me feel successful.
Well, when I started 2 years ago with the Detox Challenge, I was down to 190. My blood pressure was 140/90. I am now at 165. My blood pressure is 117/70. So I'm moving in the right direction. Oh, I've worried every coworker within 12 offices of me to death with this program. Yes, very much so. I would recommend it to everyone.
I would like to thank you, Dr. Akua, because you've changed all of our lives. And I think many of us came in with a lot of information about nutrition. So I think some of us probably came in with, what can we learn? But you've opened us up to let us know we can always learn more. And my life has been changed, my health has been changed. I was started on a course that, because of your information, it's allowed me to continue. And I also like what Whole Foods has done. It's not a market, it's a movement. And it's a way of life, and it's a mindset. And they are creating an educated and knowledgeable consumer, and that's how they're giving back to this community.
I wanted to find out what foods might be causing me problems that I'm not aware of. I don't think I breezed right through it, but once I prepared a plan ahead of time, then my biggest obstacle was the fact that I had to stand there in the kitchen and actually prepare the food, take my time, mentally wrap my head around the fact that this is good for me, it's doing something great for me. Once I did that, I would log down what recipes I was using out of the book. They became familiar, then it became a breeze. Actually, I must incorporate what I learned going forward, because at the end, the last week, I had this idea I wanted some sweet potato. I ate out a piece of sweet potato pie, and that opened me up where I went back home, and for the next 2 days, I was eating things which I was not supposed to do. I was supposed to incorporate them one at a time. As a result, after binging for a couple of days, that next morning I was foggy, I felt heavy, I just couldn't do much at all. I went through that for a day and a half. Then I said, you know what, just jump right back on it. I jumped right back on it, and even though I lost a day and a half, I'm back to myself. Yes, I would absolutely recommend this program to anyone. Matter of fact, I've already begun to do that. I email forward information to my daughters, my neighbors, and I'm always out in the community. So yes, they all know, come on down to Whole Foods, see Dr. Akua,
I feel well. I feel really good. I feel better in my sinuses than I have in years. I went to an ear, nose, and throat specialist at Boxford because I had this persistent drainage. I was always coughing, always congested, always miserable. And he did a scope, he put it down there, he says, your vocal cords are just full of mucus. And he showed it on the screen. He said, see all that mucus? He said, that's what's affecting your vocal cords, because I was losing my voice. He gave me a list of things to not eat, to eliminate. I went, I don't think I'll be able to do that. I don't know how to do that. He says, okay, if you can't do that, then I'll give you Flonase. But the next time I went to the doctor, my blood pressure was sky high. And that was the only change. And that's what it does for me. It might make my blood pressure soar. So I told him I can't take this anymore. So he gave me a weaker inhalant, and I did that for a while. And I said, okay, I can probably live with this, except I don't want to take this for the rest of my life. So around December, Dr. Akua sent some information about the elimination diet, and I said, But I looked and I saw that many of the things that the ear, nose, and throat specialist told me to eliminate were on the diet. I said, well, they have a meal plan, they have a menu, and they have a shopping list. So I don't have to think about anything. I just have to do it. And I have all these other people who will be doing it, and I have Dr. Akua, and that's going to be pretty fun. So I did it. And 2 weeks into it, I noticed I didn't have the drainage anymore. I stopped taking the inhalant in December, so I would be well clear of it before we started. So I didn't have the drainage. I used to have drainage all night long. I was always, this coughing. It was gone. And I told my husband, I don't have the drainage anymore. So 2.5 weeks into it, I went back to Dr. Seal, the ear, nose, and throat specialist, and I told him everything I was doing. And I said, soy, corn, all that stuff's gone. And I just want to see. I said, I can tell you my results, and I told him. He said, well, let's just look down and see what it looks like. And he put the little thing down my throat, and he said, your vocal cords look great. He said, look at that. He had his assistant there. He said, there used to be all of this mucus all over my vocal cords. He said, whatever it is, he said, just keep doing it. He said, if you want to come back and you have any trouble, you know where I am. He said, but it looks great. Feels great. And I lost 7 pounds.
I was just, when I first heard about Whole Cities doing something like this in preparation for Whole Foods coming in town, I was like, yes, I want to do this. I was excited about what I could learn. And I learned so much more than I even thought I could learn in a 2-day summit. I would say I learned, I don't know what I don't know. I didn't know some things. I didn't even have an idea. For instance, I eat a lot of meat alternatives and didn't realize that that's not the healthiest thing to do. So I should be moderate with those items. I just like being in a space with people of different backgrounds who are familiar with, let's say, the African American diet, and realize, hey, there's some healthy alternatives. So I just wanted to learn more, and I learned so much in the 2-day summit. It's eye-opening. I've learned about some foods I never heard of before, and the way that Angela and Dr. Akua set up, where, like for quinoa, I know I said quinoa before, but quinoa, how to make it for breakfast, lunch, and dinner. No, I can use one staple and make it a variety of ways, which is budget friendly. Like most of the things that I would say mostly, if not all of the items that have been prepared have been budget friendly. So I look forward to coming to learn new techniques of things, not even realizing, oh, I could use vegetable broth instead of oil and butter. Some things I didn't even have a question about, but just realize there's an alternative or another option that really motivates me to try something new with the suggested option or alternative. I would say the one thing, I pick up everything that I buy, I turn it over, I look at that nutritional label to see the calories to the sodium ratio. I look to see if any of the first 5 items has sugar in it. So I feel like a better food detective, if you will. So I do that adamantly. Everything that I purchase that I'm not familiar with, or say, oh, that looks good. Let me turn it over and see what's really in it. So that's one thing I do every single day. Another thing that I do, I had a myth that you couldn't drink water within 30 minutes of eating. So I've broken that habit, and I drink water whenever I want to. And as a result, I probably do consume less food overall. But the nutritional label is something I incorporate every single day. And I really try to incorporate at least one recipe each week, like try to master that recipe. So I go to Whole Foods or somewhere else and, go to the grocery store, and I get the ingredients, and I try to do at least one of the meals. And if it's something that has been used for breakfast, lunch, and dinner, I try to do all 3 varieties within that week.
What I love about it is the fact that Whole Foods didn't just come into our community and just set up shop to sell food. They came in to educate, to inspire us physically, mentally, psychologically, to eat better, to realize that it's not just about McDonald's and KFC, it's about healthy eating, healthy foods, and that we can be a better person because of it. So I applaud Whole Foods for what they're doing.
I met Dr. Akua first last year, when she was asked to come out to speak at the Detroit Yacht Club for an organization called the Detroit Wellness Advocates. And she spoke to, it was a women's conference, and she spoke to women around the table, a big table, about reading labels and understanding how to shop and look for nutrition. And afterwards, there were so many people around her looking for other information. She was really down to earth and approaching the nutritional aspect of labels. People generally tend to look at the wrong things when they were looking at labels, and she broke down a lot of myths. And then actually she did 2 conferences for us, but and a much smaller one, and she spoke to people in a small group as comfortably as she spoke to the large group. Then I heard about her 28-day challenge here this year. What I really loved and was impressed by is how she had done her homework and finding out who in the community were the go-to people for cooking, for doing presentations, for doing yoga. She didn't have the people out of the phone book. She had the small community people that already have a small network but could expand, and she brought them in for great presentations, including this lady here and some other people that I see. And she's still continuing to do that. I understand she hadn't been in Detroit for a long period of time. So for her to be able to contact the people that she brought in, I think is commendable.
Sometimes, you think or you think that this is healthy, and you find out that the stuff that you thought was healthy is really not so healthy. And just piggyback off on what the lady was saying as far as the food labels class, because it makes me more aware of not only what I put in my body, but at the bigger picture is how much, a lot of people just are not educated enough about the link between diseases and what you eat. Because I have an autoimmune disease, so my mother and I, just taking the information that we've had and just applying it to our everyday lives, it definitely makes a difference. It definitely does.
I think it was last week or week before last, Akua said that we're coming up on our year anniversary. And I'm like, no way. It's got to be at least 2 years. But that's just a reflection of what she's done for this community. When I first encountered her, she says a year ago, I was like, who is this woman? And I was drawn to her. It was sincere. It was the most sincere spirit. And I was drawn to her. So I came to the classes that she offered, and I was like, wow, she's got information that I've never heard of before. And it's things that you really think about and incorporate into your life. And it's dumbed down. She keeps it really simple. And I'm like, gosh, by way of Texas, a phoenix has risen. She is so good about linking people together and connecting together. I've been over here working across the street for 12 years. And through Akua, I met somebody in the building that I didn't know, and we worked together trying to, not just Charlene, but it's some other people that couldn't be present. We worked together trying to improve upon our health, thanks to the knowledge that we've gained from Akua. And one of the things that really meant a lot to me was when she said, eat a rainbow of food, plant strong foods. And I do that. If I don't do anything else, I do that. And I'm not where I want to be, but judging from if I go back to the time I met her to now, I'm ahead of the game. Because my plans are to go to some island and live a simple life. My takeaways from her, I'll be ahead of the game. I have a lot more to say, but I know we're time conscious, so I'll give you my template. But I also want to talk about Whole Foods in general. I have never seen a company come in for business and really give you an experience. When you go into Whole Foods, they actually listen to you. A lot of companies don't do that. The store manager, I mean, I feel like he's my big brother. You know, a lot of the people that work in all the departments really, we're like family. You know, I say, it would be nice if you would get those black radishes in. And they listen, and they actually do it. And they tell you, well, there was a shortage or something or other, but we'll get it in, and they do it. And I appreciate that. We appreciate that. The last thing is Whole Foods, how they've come in and taken over this community, this region. I feel like, I'd like to call myself previously a closed-minded pessimist, but because of Akua, but because of Whole Foods and what they've done in this community, I think I can honestly say that I'm now an open-minded optimist.
And she's really changing how we eat around the house. I want to say that Whole Food, they exist in other communities. Matter of fact, there's a store about 1.5 miles from our house, but it doesn't offer this. So, we're blessed to have it. We drive about a half hour to this, but it's worth it, well worth it. I had my annual physical yesterday, and because of the things my wife's been bringing home, my blood pressure was better than I can ever remember it being. Eating habits, we're changing our eating habits. I'm down weight. I was a little disappointed I wasn't down more weight, but my blood pressure, health-wise, I feel better, I have more energy, so please keep doing what you're doing. We were talking earlier about reading labels. My wife, she comes home after every class, she has some more insight for the household. And knowledge is power. So you're empowering us. Keep up the great work. It's not good work, it's great work, because it's impacting people and their lives. Not only the longevity of life, but the quality of life. So I look at it as a ministry, so keep up your great work.
This class, I did all the classes, and I went from 260 on down, and I eat good. I'm over here at Pole Town, and it's just a whole different story from where I work, my normal plant. And I eat fruit salads and everything to keep my energy up. I'm doing real good. I'm happy. Got off my little depression medicine because of it, because I do the smoothies in the morning. And that's because I'm a war vet, so. But I tell her all the time, she rocks. And my thing when I first started, she wasn't Dr. Akua, it was the mad doctor. But I really thank her for opening up my eyes. I see food totally different. I don't just eat fried chicken at lunch and then eat a whole bunch of other stuff like Monster Burgers in the evening, and then I eat about a pound of ice cream at night just to go to sleep. And my daughter, she's happy, and she loves it because I buy all the stuff now, so she don't have to pay, spend her money. But I thank both of them. I really thank her a lot for getting me in this, and I'm gonna try to get to more classes in May so I can keep it up and get the rest of this down.
When you go to the store, everybody's recommending do this and do that, try this and try that, so that's great. But then I stumbled on the 28-day challenge, and I've never lost 3 pounds, more than 3 pounds, anytime I've tried to lose weight. So I go through the 28-day challenge, and I'm like, how am I gonna do this? And every week it was like exciting. Can I do it? Can I? Yes, I can. So every week I built on the previous week, and I lost 14 pounds pretty effortlessly. So my doctor has been telling me probably the last 3 years, every time I go, you need to get in balance with everything, and I never have, of course. So when I went back to my doctor, I waited until March for my appointment, and he looked at my chart. What did you do? I says, I've been going to Whole Foods with Dr. Akua, and I've been eating healthy, which I always thought I was a healthy eater and also exercise. But the difference here is that we're educated, why we eat what we eat, why we do what we do, and to make choices, and for me, to plan. I never plan a meal. I've been trying all types of vegetables that I've seen them, but I've never tried them before. And so just like Darlene, I've been cooking things that I would have never thought I would cook. I share what I learn with other people, but I am selfish. I don't tell them that they also can come down here too, because I want to make sure I have a spot. But I do share the knowledge, and surprisingly, other people are trying recipes that I've told them about. So I've always been a recipe collector, so I've gone through all of these recipes I've collected over the years, and the takeaway for me is reading labels. I go to stores and I read the labels. I'm so excited about it. I even take a picture of it with my phone to just remember what it is I'm looking for. And I've emailed Dr. Akua so many times, just excited about what's happening with me. And can you believe it? She always emails me back. Thank you.
I'm sure Dr. Akua probably thinks I'm a groupie, because it seems like everywhere she goes, I'm there trying to learn a little bit more. But I think when I first got captivated was the reading the labels and the hidden ingredients in food and the different names for food that you may not understand, such as things that end with OSE, et cetera, and not realizing, oh, how much salt and sugar I'm really consuming. The fact that they have come into this community and not been above, but part of the community. And they've spoken a language that people understand, that people can identify with, and people can take home and attempt to replicate, such as the recipes that I have attempted to cook, every single one of them. Some not so good, but my daughter wants to know, so why all of a sudden are the collard greens cut up like ribbons? That's because, yes, because Angie said, and why are the collard greens all of a sudden kind of crunchy? Because we don't have to cook everything to death. So, when you take those things home and you put it into practice, you try to have the color, et cetera. I think the last thing that I really botched up was the kale pesto. You can make that a tad too green and a tad too lemon, I found out. But it was so good. And so, from our perspective, we are incredibly proud to have this in the community. We realize this is a partnership. And she's doing her part, and we're going to do our part, because we want it to stay here and we want it to be replicated and used as an example.
Choices. So to have a organization to come in and seek out those of us that have been busy in the community all of the years and rallying us in a way that we can continue to be even more effective, that has been my biggest joy of being able to be a partner. And I think that is the motto, and I think some of us have said that, is to get in touch with those that are already doing the work in the community, and then put that energy behind it, and look what we've done. Yes.
What I appreciate with Akua's approach, we've all heard about reading labels. We know that's something that we should do, and we've heard that for years. But what's different about Akua's hands-on approach is teaching us how to read the labels and what's significant about the information on the labels.
Like I said, we teach people how to shop, cook, and eat healthy. So whatever area Whole Foods is in, we like to say, this is where you go, this is what you look for. When they came here, I sought out Dr. Akua, and I said, I have to partner with you, because we have the same goals in the community. And I can say it's been a wonderful experience on a professional and personal level. She is a wonderful mentor to me. She's taught me a lot, and one thing I will say is a lot of you talked about the greens, but I love teaching people and showing people and seeing that spark. Once you show and they see, this is how you read labels, this is how you cook, it's really that easy, and then they taste, you see that sparkle. That's it right there. Once someone tastes something and they're, oh, this is really good. It was easy, it was simple, it's healthy, and I actually love it. Miss Lima Beans right here. She hadn't eaten lima beans since she was, 4, and she tasted ours and has been eating lima beans ever since, I believe. And I love those stories. Dr. Kua has stories like that, and we've been coming here doing a great work in the community, and I want to thank you all for your support, and Dr. Kua for your support. I love you.
I need to buy stock in Whole Foods now. I am there so often. My friend and I, we go there all the time. Now, before we didn't go because it was so far away, so we didn't really go. But then when we heard about Akua teaching classes, we met her at a church. She spoke at a church, and she was teaching us how to read the ingredients. And I didn't know sugar came in so many different names, okay? And when she said, oh yes, this is sugar, and she had a product that had 5 different types of sugar in it. And we started coming to the classes, and we was learning so much, and they made it so easy. The people that she brought in to teach made it so easy to do the right thing. So it's like now, my daughter is in it, my granddaughter is in it. My granddaughter goes to school and tell her friends. They're learning how to eat healthier, so we're impacting generations.
It's like a movement, and I mean, I feed off of the excitement and their energy when I come to the classes with everyone else. So I haven't bought a lean cuisine. I feel like I'm in AA or something. I haven't I have not bought a lean cuisine in like over a month. And what I do now is I'll put my sweet potato in the oven, and I'll steam my spinach, and then I'll do a stir fry with my asparagus, mushrooms, and onions. And it smells so good. So I'll take that to work, and then the people at work, you know, they'll be waiting for the microwave, and they'll see me with my little sweet potato and my spinach and everything, and they'll say, wow, that really looks good, and it's so healthy. And I'm like, yeah, you know, I've been going to these classes at Whole Foods, and I'm really encouraged now, you know, and I want to get really, really healthy. And so it's like I'm spreading the gospel to the people at work, and when they see me bring my green vegetables and stuff, maybe they'll think about it also. And another thing I would like to suggest is, when you're talking about duplicating the model, look what we have here, where she gives these classes. It's beautiful, it's welcoming, and it makes us feel like they're going beyond the call of duty to give us a place to learn that's beautiful and it's nice.
My life, I lost 30 pounds in 2 months. You know, just in 2 months. Yeah, just from eating right. And it's just from what she said, making the right choices, you know, instead of grabbing those chips. You know, I got apples going out with me. If I want something sweet, I grab some raisins. I get a bag full of raisins and take it with me. So, you know, you really changed my lifestyle too. So I appreciate it.
Little did I know when they built the Whole Foods here on Mack and Woodward, how much of an effect it would have on my life. Larry Austin spoke at my cousin's church, Victory Fellowship Baptist Church. I invited Larry to the NAACP Allies Issues and Answers meeting. About 2 weeks later, Larry invited Akua. Well, June 3rd, I had a life-saving heart attack. I went to, now this is interesting. They said, well, how does that work? Well, when I went to the hospital with the heart attack, the next morning they came into my room. They said, Mr. Abdallah, we think you have TTP. I said, you think or you know? They said, we know. I said, what is that? They said, well, your platelets are supposed to be 150,000 to 400,000. Yours were at 14,000, dropped to 6,000, and they said you would have been dead in a couple days if this had not been detected or treated. Now, when Larry and Akua was at the NAACP, they said, well, you know, call us, we'll bring groceries out to you, we'll do this, we'll do that. I'm like, yeah, right. But when I went into the hospital, I called Akua. I got team after team after team of doctors coming into my room. I look at the phone, it's Akua. My nephrologist came in. I said, here, you talk to her. And so she went out in the hall, she talked to Akua, she came back, she handed me the phone. Akua said, Ade, do everything they tell you to do while you're there. She said, but when you get out, you're going to be mad at me. This is the meanest, toughest, no-nonsense angel God got. Because, you know, she said, well, she called me the next day. She said, Dave, I want you to read this book, How to Prevent Heart Attacks, How to Prevent and Reverse Heart Attacks by Dr. Caldwell Esselstyn. I don't know who found out that she was talking to me, because their cardiologist came in. He said, well, Mr. Abdallah, here's my card. He said, I don't take care of presidents, but I do the best I can. Because Dr. Esselstyn, he was Bill Clinton's doctor. And so basically, this has changed my whole life, because this is my second heart attack. Now, when I had the first one, they put the stents in and all of that, so I thought I was immune. I thought I could go back to eating what I want to eat and doing this and doing that. But then when I ran into Akua and she had me read the book, she wouldn't even talk to me. She believes in knowledge is power. She said, read the book, and then after you read it, then we'll sit down and we'll talk about a diet. So as I was reading it, I was emailing her back and forth and stuff. And, you know, after I read the book, I said, well, cool. Matter of fact, when I was meeting with her, we were meeting and a nurse came up from St. John, from DMC. Because St. John, they wanted to cut my chest open. They wanted to do triple bypass. I wasn't in favor of that. And so the nurse that was talking with me and Kush, she said, well, no, you need to come to DMC, because, you know, we could do something different. And so I said, okay, I went to DMC. They wanted to do stents. St. John wanted to cut me open. So I said, well, who's right? So then I went to Henry Ford, had a third consultation. They said that the bypass would give me more longevity. But then I told the crew, I said, it doesn't matter who does it. If I go back and do the same thing that caused it in the first place, then shame on me. You know, so from the knowledge, it empowered me to start eating right. One of the things that I learned from Dr. Esselstyn is you don't put oil on a fire. You don't keep putting things in your body that's going to cause your arteries to clog up. And then if you stop intoxicating your body, then your body will begin to heal itself. And then what I learned is a lot of the things that Akua teaches me is stuff I knew already, but I just got away from it. You know, as I tell people, the very, very, very first sin in the Bible is a dietary sin. God said, don't eat this. What did Adam do? And then where did he get kicked out of? He got kicked out of a garden where everything is that we need for health. So Akua is an angel. Tough, but an angel.
In the year 2000, I weighed 205 pounds. I lost the weight, but I wasn't eating right. I would exercise, and that was my thing. As long as you exercise, you could lose the weight. But I'd exercise and go to Kentucky Fried Chicken and get chicken and okra, and then I go to 7-Eleven and get a big Pepsi, you know. And I knew the next day I was going back to do the same thing, so I could afford to do that. But as I got older, I found out that food wasn't doing the thing for me in my insides, my intestine. So I said, it's got to be something different. So one day I passed here, and I saw a sign say, Whole Foods is coming. I called my kids. They're all out of state. I say, Whole Foods is coming to Detroit. They say, you're kidding. You need to be the first one in there. I say, well, what do you mean? Well, when they come home, they would put all my food, all my chicken, my beef downstairs in the freezer, and they would restock the refrigerator with their, you know, because they always have eaten healthy since college. So I said, okay, this is fine. I'm not going to put it back. But I came here, and Amanda was here then, and Amanda was good. That's the first thing I learned about the 48-day challenge. I took it. It didn't, 28 day, I took it. Akua came, I took it, but I'm sorry, it took me 48 days. I'm not gonna lie, it took me 48 days. It took me 48 days, and when she pulled out a NutriBullet one class and showed us how to do smoothies, that's my thing every morning. You know, I ride her in the morning. I know she gets tired of it. I say, on my way out the door, smoothie in hand, backpack, I'm on my way to the races.
Akua taught us a lot of wonderful things about purchasing the right foods and how to prepare it. And that all foods don't have to be cooked. Some are best raw. There's so many families that need to learn about what I learned in this program. I hate to say it, but I don't like to shop in my neighborhood anymore. I like to shop here. This is my neighborhood too, though. But we were so happy, rejoicing, when this market opened. You just you don't understand. It's like a godsend because we can buy healthy, fresh foods, and there are people going in and out all day long, purchasing and eating as they're walking in the store. I'm one of those people.
If you have no insurance, one of the things you can do, and I used to always teach my patients this, is to take care of your health. And whatever it is that you have control over, make sure you work that out. So I happened to heard some people there, and they were talking about a class, so I hurried up and I texted her, and she said, sure, you can come in. And I got started, and I was going through a fast at the time. And I asked her if she would mentor me, because I was willing to make a lifestyle change. I'd already decided I wanted to do that. And you know, just like it says, when the student is ready, the teacher appears. So everything just kind of fell into place for me. And so I'm now 30 days, whole food, plant strong. No meat, but that was my choice. I wanted to do that. And I don't advocate that for everybody, but I cook it and all those other little things that they may like. But for me, it makes me feel good. I feel better. One of the things I say about Whole Foods, I really love the fact that they came in and they embraced the community. Unlike one of our big competitors over there on 8 Mile Road, all you see is the people when you walk in, like, welcome to so-and-so and so, and the rest of that you're on your own. The people aren't friendly or anything like that. So I'm very happy to see an organization like that come in. And I want to say, as you go into different communities, one of the things to do is to identify with the community. Never so much compare with, with this is what they do and so. Find out what the peculiars are in that particular community. Get on board, find out who the key people are so that they are the ones that are teaching the community. Because one of the things I know as a person of color, we generally don't like outsiders. It's really hard for us to deal with that. But if we find somebody who has walked in our moccasins and that can relate to us and don't talk above us but walk right with us, we can do this, So I'm just so grateful that Whole Foods took that attitude when they walked in, and that they hired someone like Akua to really mentor this city in terms of finding or understanding what good food is and how to prepare it.
I had this dry hacking cough continuously, and originally I thought it was just during the cold season, but it was in the summer as well. And I've noticed that since I took the challenge, the coughing is gone. So I've eliminated something that was causing it. Now, as I start trying to reintroduce things, then hopefully I'll find out what that is.
My name is Janie Pullins, and I had an excellent checkup when I went to the doctor a couple of weeks ago. And I take medication for high cholesterol, and I had stopped taking the medication once I started the challenge. And he said, whatever you have been doing, continue to do it. So I'm very thankful.
My name is Lisa, and I've lost 8 pounds also, and I didn't think I could give up coffee. 3 weeks without coffee, that's been really good for me. And the swelling in my left foot has been a problem that I've had for a couple of years. He had all kinds of tests on circulation and heart and everything, and the swelling is really reduced.
And since I've been on this challenge, I've lost almost 15 pounds. I had high blood pressure. My high blood pressure is down. The doctor says, almost I had to piggyback off. The lady says, what have you done? I also had high cholesterol. Of course, the challenge was the cravings. Your mind playing tricks on you, and you're home. But I had to change my mindset in order for me to conquer and continue on the goal that I started. So this is an excellent challenge, and I was happy that I was a part of it. And I'm going to continue, and I hope I meet some people in here so we can all do this together again. Thank you.
Got on the challenge. At first, I didn't think I could do it because I was afraid I might fail. But I lost some weight. I lost enough weight where I can put my pants on without undoing them, just put them on. And that's maybe about 7 pounds. And what I found that was really good for me is I have had problems going to sleep. And when I got on this, I could fall asleep. I mean, I was falling asleep. I was saying, what's going on here? And I just, and I figured it out that it had to be what I was doing, the detoxing, because I fall asleep. I don't have any problems falling asleep now. When I'm ready to go to bed, I go to sleep. So I'm very thankful for that.
And I've lost 13 pounds. And like this lady here, sleeping was an issue for me, and I have been able to get really good, restful sleep from eliminating a lot of the foods that I think that just caused a lot of problems for me. So I'm going to continue this eating plan because it works for me.
My name is Grace, and this is the first year I completed the challenge, but it's not the first year I knew about it. Last year I saw it, and I didn't have the nerve. So I started coming to the classes that April and getting to know how things work. And so this year I got the nerve to do the challenge. I think the biggest thing for me at this point, it wasn't a weight loss thing, it was the mental weight and the things I would carry and worry about. And the biggest thing I noticed is I always had a constant pain, either a headache or I couldn't get on my knees without feeling it, or I couldn't get up and go to the bathroom without stretching first. And I think that's the biggest thing I noticed is one morning I was just in the bathroom. You know, there was no stretching and pulling, and I kind of got a little more into the yoga and started looking online and learning about Reiki. And I had a yoga teacher tell me one time that the reason that I couldn't do, I can't remember the position, but where you bring your legs over your head was because I was too old. You know, she told me I was too old and maybe I should do the adapted form. You know, maybe my equilibrium couldn't take it. So when I was able to plow, that's what it's called, when I was able to hit the plow position, you would have thought I was 5 years old, you know. So it was wonderful. But this also benefited my family because my husband and my daughter didn't necessarily want to cook for themselves all the time, so they ate what I made. And my husband went from a size 42 pant to a 38, and my daughter lost 12 pounds, so this was a great experience.
And this is not so much about what I gave up as to what I tried to incorporate during the challenge. Last January, I had an incident where I think I OD'd on caffeine with the 2 of the world's strongest cup of coffee, and my blood pressure shot up. I cold turkey quit drinking coffee. This time during the challenge, I said, let me see, since I'm trying to detox, what coffee will do to me. And I had a cup of coffee, and immediately I could feel the effect. They were all very negative. I started with a headache and just that overall foggy feeling that caffeine bring about. And today, I spent most of the day at Boxford Hospital with a girlfriend of mine. She had been experiencing all of this burning sensation, all of this pain throughout her body, and she had put in her mind that she had cancer going throughout her body. And what it ended up being is she was very acidic. And don't want to really talk too much about her health, but her doctor told her when she left, she questioned drinking coffee. He said to drink coffee in this situation would be like putting kerosene on a fire. So one of the things I truly know about coffee is that it is not good for us. And thanks to this challenge, I had the nerve to try it a second time, but I'm convinced I won't be drinking coffee.
I'm a little bit shy. It's taken me a long time to get up to say this. Probably more so than the way of eating, what I'm taking away is a way that you gave us to think about food. It was one statement you made one day. So it sort of went like this, that we can change our DNA by changing our lifestyle. My primary care physician sent me to a specialist. He read some of my blood work up, and he said, your cholesterol is high, and we're going to recommend this medicine, like the rest, and you'll be on like the rest of us. I said, oh no. My mother is 92, takes no medicine, and is very active. I said, my goal is not to take any medicine. He said, your goal should be to find out the best medicine to take. I said, oh no, I will take no medicine. I said, Dr. Course said we could change our DNA by changing our lifestyle. And he said, who is that doctor? So I know I have a tool to use that will change my lifestyle because I intend to live to be at least 100. Okay?